Okay, I'm going to take a look at, this is chapter 4, problem 32. And basically it's to go into chapter 3 and look at this program that's in the chapter. And use nested for loops to do that. Okay, so in chapter 3, the actual problem that we're going to be looking at, what you'll need to do is be able to create this truth table. Okay, and basically you have 3 inputs, A, B, and C. And of course, when we're dealing in a binary system, true, false, we're using Boolean variables. We have just 2 possibilities. Okay, either it's a 0 or 1. So here's all the combinations for that, right? And here are the outputs, right? So the basic idea is this. You know, if you have you're doing a logical operation with these 3 variables, you know, it's going to say if A is a, you know, like let's say this first one, A is 0 and B is 0, this part evaluates out to 0. And then the other one is B and C. So B and C is 0. So this evaluates out to 0. So if you have a 0 or a 0, that's also a 0. Okay. So you can actually go through and do this by hand and verify that, you know, these are really the results that you're getting for these conditions. Okay. All right. So we just continue on. So here's the actual program. And what it does, basically, it generates that table on the console. These variables are declared and initialized. So they're initialized a little bit different fashion. They use curly braces, which you can always do that, or parens to declare them. Basic idea, just goes through, change a variable, display it. You know, over here we change a couple of variables and display it. Okay, we keep going down all the way down to here. Okay, so it's fairly long to go and generate that table. And what you're going to notice, if you could code this up if you want, but what you're going to notice is that if you had it's fairly long, but if you had one more variable, let's say we had D, and we would have basically twice as much code to write for this. Okay, and what you're going to find is that if we look at this and we realize that there's some, you know, repeatability or a pattern to like how to how things repeat, is that we can use a structure, one of our repetition structures, to do that. And the first one, or the one that we're going to do in this one, will be the for loop. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to start Visual Studio. Okay, there it is, Visual Studio 2019. I'm going to create a new project, and it's a console app. Next. Okay, and then I want to call it for problem 32. Okay, so I use my last name for this since that's my program. Okay, and then then the location. Let's put it on the desktop so it's a lot easier to get at afterwards. I like to do that, put them on the desktop, and it's easy for me to go and grab the dots, you know, the CPP files or the source files, and upload them. Okay, create. Okay. All right, so that's my program. Okay, so we don't need hello world, but here's just the basic template for that. Okay, so let me maximize this. All right, I got 250%. Oh, that's probably fairly good. Let me make it a little larger. I'll do a 300. Okay. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is using namespace, like I do std, like I do in all the programs. Okay. Then I'm going to create some variables. And what I'll do is I'll just make them lowercase. Boolean A equal to, I could do false if I wanted to, or I could just say, oh, sorry, not Boolean, but bool A, and I could just say it's false, or for this, there's actually false. Oh, there it is, false, lowercase, sorry. comma, B equal to, same thing, F, A, L, let's see. These are called enumerations that are, basically they're keywords that are defined already, okay? It might be in this include file here. And then C equal to FALSE, okay? Which is essentially just going to set them all equal to 0, right? Now I need to actually go and display like the header information in the table, okay? So I can take a step back here and look at kind of how it's done here. Okay, so here it is, this print table header. So this is like the first part of it. And then here's the second part of it. So this is like, oh, sorry, this is it right here. So this is the whole thing, all of this. We just need to code this up. Okay, let me go back to my program. Okay, so I just did it like a copy over. And it came close. It wasn't exactly it, but I can fix it. All right, so that's kind of like what we're looking at doing here. And as you can see, it didn't copy over exactly. But we'll do that. And ABC. And these are just, this is like an escape sequence, they call it. This is like new line. These are tabs. So if it's backslash N, backslash T is tab, backslash T is another tab. So these are just for formatting, these backslashes, and then it looks like the next character. Okay. So this, it came over as LL, but it's really these two pipes here. C, and we need a double quote here, and then end line. Okay, that's fine. All right, so now as you see, all the squiggly lines are gone. So that's what the table is going to look like, at least the top two lines. Okay. Then the next thing we have is this, all these dashes. So I'm just going to do C out, and I don't need this stuff. I need this. Okay. Oh, a bunch of dashes. Okay, and end line. All right. So that's pretty much that part. All right, and then we'll do the same thing. We'll use tabs when we actually display the variables. Okay. So we do this, file, save all, and I'll go and run it just to show you the what it's going to look like, at least the table. Okay, so here's the header of the table. Oh, I could probably put a few more dashes here. Maybe I'll put like 5 or 10 more just to, let me do 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that'll look a little better. Continue on to the end. Okay, so now the next line, we go back here. Here's actually the line that we care about for this. So I'll go here, and I'll actually go and I don't know if I can grab this. Oh, sorry. Go back to my program. All right, I'll just go and type it out. Okay, so C out. First one is going to be A. So I'll put an A, and I'm using lowercase letters this time. And I can do this. I can do tab. So I'll just tab it over like this, just to match. I can actually do a single quote here. Okay, just to match the previous one, and it's B. And however you do this, it's just all for formatting, right? And then we'll look at the result. And then C. Okay, and then same thing, backslash T. Okay, and then the last one, I'll just go down to the next line. It's actually just this, except that now we're not displaying it, we're going to evaluate it, and I got to change it. So all right, and then it's going to be lowercase because I made mine lowercase to follow our coding standard. Okay, and then end line to make it a new line. Okay. Okay. Oh. All right. Okay, that's good. Okay, so let me just do this, save all, and I'll run it again. No, doesn't like something. I'll look down here for my Errors. Oh. Okay, so you need to put parens around this. Otherwise, it's treating it separately. So you got to put parens around this whole expression here. Okay. And now I can go and run it. And there's my table. So maybe I want to put another tab or two to push it over here to the right, or bring this one over to the left. I'll tell you what, I'll just do a couple more tabs. I think in the original one, oh, they had 2 tabs, so let me do 2. And of course, if I do that, well, I need to actually specify this as a double quote. Now we have more than one here. Okay. To make it a string. Okay, and then we'll run it again. See what it looks like. A little better. Maybe I'll put one more in here and get it nice and lined up. Okay, that looks good. All right. Okay, so that's our basic structure of this thing, okay? Now, if we look at, we go back to our original table and we look at it. So let me go back up. Here it is. So if you look at it, what happens? 0, 0, 0. And then the next line, what happens is you got 0, 0, 1. Okay? So basically, we're doing the same thing again, except we're just changing C. Right? So we want to have that display the same thing like we did previously, except C will change. And then you'll notice that when we go to the next one, now B changes, okay? But it only changes once. And if you notice, this is like counting in binary, right? It's 0, 0, 0, then it's 1, then this is 2 binary, then this is 3 binary, then this is 4, 5, 6, and 7, okay? So let's go back to our code. Let me just do this and bring this open again. Here it is. Okay, and maximize it. Okay, so we want to repeat the same thing. So this is inside of a loop. So I'll do for integer I equals. Oh, I don't know. I could do 1 or 2 or 0 to 1, while I is less than or equal to 1. I plus plus. Okay. And I'll put curly braces in here. And what I need to do is I need to change C. Okay. And the way I'll do it, I'll say C. I could add 1 to it, right? But that might not be really what I want to do. I'll say C is equal to not C. Okay. So what happens is that, the first time through, whatever C is, it's just going to reverse the sign. Okay. So now if I go and run it, you'll see what happens. So C now changed. Now the evaluation is still 0, 0, and we can go through all of them and then compare it to our our original table to make sure that this is really working correctly. But so now I've changed C. All right. Now, if we notice, going back on the table, and we look at it here. So now C changes. Okay. And now what we want to do is change C back. Right? So every single time I go through my loop and display the message, I want C to change. But B only changes every 2. And C only changes every 4. Okay? So what we could do here is we realize that if we just take this and create another loop outside of this and do the same kind of thing again, except, let me put it here. See, I moved it over, but didn't need to. Except I'm going to do this integer j equal to 0. Semicolon. J less than or equal to 1. J plus plus. Okay. And I'll do the same thing, curly brace. And did I do it? Oh, okay. I did. But let me move this over. And this is the curly brace that goes with that one. And here's our new one. Okay. So what happens here is that, oh, this is supposed to be J, not I, J, okay? Every time this runs through twice, I want this one to do essentially 1 loop, right? So what I have to do here is I just come in here, B equal to not B. Okay, so this changes C. All right, so it goes 0, then 1. And then when it comes out to the outer loop, it changes B, then goes back through and does the inner loop again, which means, toggle C. Okay, so let's run it. Save it all, and then run. Okay, and there's our result with B. Okay, now what we recognize again, of course, if we go back to that original table and we see it, maybe I can make this a little larger so we can see it a little better. Now I recognize is that what we did is like these first values of 0 for A. We do the same thing again, except now we toggle A. Okay. So I'll just do this. Copy. Put this here, except I'm going to change the variable to K. K. And then we have curly brace, same thing, making it a block of code. And I'll just push these over. I don't know why it didn't automatically do that for me, but that's okay. Well, then this one gets pushed over, this gets pushed over, and now we have another curly brace here that's got to line up with this one. All right. Now in this case, we're changing A. A equal to not A. Okay. So now I'll go and do this. File, save all, run it. And there it is. And we could look at the results. So it's only when, B and C are 1. So if the two that are next to each other, B, C are 1 together, and A and B are 1 together, then it's going to give you a 1. Okay? And we go back, look at the table, and that is indeed the case here. Okay? So this meets the requirements of the program. And now you can see, because we use loops, look how long the program is now. Well, let me get this down. There is essentially our whole program right there. Okay, so when you have when you're writing code where you have some repeatability in it, where you're kind of repeating the same thing over and over again, loops are really very useful for that. And as you can see in this case, that it became much simpler. Right, it's much shorter now. This is the whole code that replaced the previous code that we had previously, which was, oh, wrong direction. Here it is. One whole page here plus this. Okay. And that's about it. But let me go into the folder. Okay. So the files, of course, that you need. So let's see. Here it is. Go into that folder, the one I created. Let me just expand this out. And the one I care about, I'll go into this. It's the CPP file, or the CPP, the source file, right? That's the one you have to upload. Okay. And you can see once I click on it, then of course here's the source code. That's the code I want, right? So just make sure. And you can always open this with any kind of text editor just to make sure. Not that. So here it is, edit. So this is the code I want, right? So this is what you would upload for your program. Just that file. And that's about it for that one.